Right, so this is the house I grew up in, the one right in the middle of the screen there. Um, well, the end, there's a row of houses in the middle of the screen. It's the one on the far left. Now you can see the side of it. You can see the shed there. Used to climb on that shed. That's where, there's the hedge. And my mate Vike lived in the house next door, which is, piss off, which is that one. That's cool, isn't it? It does that. And then I also lived in this house here from when the age of about 14, 15 until I met Vicky when I was 19, which is that house there. And then Tony Valverde lived next door. I shouldn't call him that. There was a murder in that house. Used to play, this was the street I grew up in. My mate David, was it David Povey or David Doughty? No, Craig was Povey. David Doughty lived in that house on the end. The house on the other end, Philly lived in, where the lorry crashed into it. Also, after that, Carl Rowlands and Paul Rowlands lived there. Michael Prince lived in that one on the end. Denise, who Phil had an affair with, lived in that one, 95. There's the garages where I used to play football. Well, they're not there anymore. No garages, bloody hell. Right, so then, this is Queen's Park, obviously. But after I moved out of Glangors, the first house I showed you, I went to live in 101 Gwenvro, which is that one. Lost my virginity in that house. Me went to live in my dad's when I was about 13 in Larch Grove, which is, my sister's still in this house, which is, let me think, that one there, with the bluish car outside it. Yeah, and that's her back garden, which looks messy on Street View. So my dad used to live in that house. Right, we're going to Huller Lane. We used to live on Huller Lane as well. Me and Vicky. Ruby was born there, which was in which house? Would be that one. That house there with the tree in the front garden. 18 Huller Lane, yeah, I think that's the one. That's the one, because it's got patio doors. So we lived there until we come up here to Rose. Also in Spring Lodge, I lived with me nana. This was the best time of my life from the age of about 16 to 18 in 66 Trevenna Way, which is that house there. That's when I met, I'd known who Steve was most of my life, but that's when I became friends with him, through Barry bringing him up. And I was in that bedroom, top right window. Great time. Although that's when I got into serious drug taking, so. Also lived in Portal Avenue this is where we had the house fire, number 13, which would be that one, with a weird green thing. Oh, that was like a motorbike with a tarp over it in the garden now. Let's have a look around the back. Yeah, that's the one. That's the back garden. So there's a little, let's go down a bit more. Let's go down the Queensway. Oh, the school I grew up in. The school that I went to is totally different now, but that's the school, Gwenvro. But it looked very different when I was a child. My mate Steve grew up in this house here and still lives there with his dad, although he's been everywhere else, Bangor, and he was going out. We were both going out with sisters. I was with Vicky for 22 years. He was with Belinda, her sister, for, I don't know how long, 10 years, 15, I don't know. And he went to move up to Bangor, and then he came back to, he's living with his dad now, who's had a stroke, and but he's doing all right, and he lives there, and that's his bedroom, top right, the house with the big bush in the front garden. That's Steve's, actually. That's probably, piss off, Street View. Okay, now. should have stayed on it really. I could show you his house a bit better. Anyway, that's his house. That's probably his little black car outside. And there we have it, a little tour of Queen's Park. Oh, let's see. Oh, Pontwen Park. I'm up in Rose now, but Rose isn't in 3D like this, so can't give you a good tour around Rose. Oh, that little bridge there. Been under there many a time. The Awern, of course. Oh God, what could I say about the Awern? So much. So much. Belinda and Steve used to live in that bottom left flat. But way before that, I used to know this bloke called Vince, and we used to go there to smoke weed, and that was in the bottom right flat. And then before that, Mavis lived in that house, and his dad was Albert the Mole. I think they called him Albert the Mole. Used to go there. Me nana, me mum's mum, used to live in, let me get my bearings here. Used to live in that house, I think. The one that's in the middle of the screen now with the bright green lawn. And then that Vince I told you about, he also used to live years before he lived in the flat by Stephen. He lived in that one there, bottom right. And that one, that bottom, that's the front. He lived in that block. And also when I was about 4, my cousin Carlos had a christening, and that was in the bottom left flat. I don't know who lived there, whether it was Phil and Diane, I don't know. But I remember there was a christening cake, and I went in the kitchen on my own when I'm like 2, 3, 4, whatever. I think it was about 2 or 3. And there was all shells made of icing around the cake, and I ate about half of them and got in trouble. Not big trouble, I was only like 3 or whatever. Sutty's house there. This house, where is it? This one here, I did a tattoo of a letter A on my hand when I was 11 with Justin Rutter, and I was drinking alcohol as well. I was fucking 11. Oh my God. This house here, I used to hang around with a lad called Geraint. And I used to go out with Maria Burden, and me and Nikki, we had a sleepover there once. There were 3, Geraint, Scotty and Dana, the 3 that lived there. The mum was a bit mentally unstable, should we say. She was a nice woman though, Veronica. I ended up looking after her years later. And there was a big tree in that garden, and I used to climb it. I used to love it. Girly Gareth lived in... Oh, which one would it have been? Possibly the one with the big black circular trampoline in. Yeah, there. I remember dancing in the bedroom with Maria Burden when I was 11. God. JP's house there. Me and Steve Barton had a jam there way back in about 1990. God, there's so many things, so many memories, so many places. Right, okay, let's see. I want this to put on YouTube to see what it looks like on a big screen.